This is Brad from Argali. I am all packed up for a 5-day archery backpack elk hunt. I'm going to talk to you about all the gear that I have inside my pack and everything that I do take with me on this hunt, as well as some of the things that I choose to leave behind. So first things first, I have too much gear to keep on this table all the time, so I'm going to take this pack off the table. This is an EXO K4 5000. This size pack is really kind of ideal for that 5-day backpack hunt. You can certainly get a little bit more out of it, even up to like 7 days for me if I'm careful with how I pack and what I take. But great pack, great size, and really like some of the features of that pack. So first I'm going to start off with my clothing and boots on this hunt. So I'm going to start off with something that just going through what I take. These are Patagonia. I can't remember what kind of boxers these are. I don't often talk about my underwear, but I am on this one because these boxers are amazing. I don't take any extra underwear. This will be all I wear for a week-long hunt, and they're fantastic and they're great. I'm going to be wearing these Keb Agile. I think these are Keb Agile light pants. These are a great lightweight pant. They're made out of polyester. They're quiet. They have some cargo pockets, which is perfect. And come in sort of a neutral color. So these will be what I'm going to be taking with me for pants. I've got a pair of zip-off merino long underwear, wool hat, my handkerchief for sun, which I always take with me, and then a pair of merino Sitka gloves. Typically don't need gloves on an early season archery hunt, but if it gets cold, I have something for me, something to wear. I'm going to take, so pretty simple on the clothing system because it's going to be pretty warm out typically in the first part of September. Two things I'm taking for insulation. So the only insulation layers I'm taking on this is this Sitka Ambient hoodie. And then I've got a Patagonia Nano Air Puff and Nano Air Vest. These two pieces right here, these are super light. These are active insulation pieces. They're quiet. They're incredibly warm for the weight, for what you get. So this is all I will need on this hunt. Even if it gets down, around freezing, a little bit below freezing, like this will be enough clothing, especially on an archery elk hunt where most of the day you're kind of active and moving around. The only time I'm really sitting down typically is at night when I'm going to bed. I do have a merino, this is a Sitka merino lightweight shirt, which I'll be wearing, and then I have a rain jacket from Sitka as well for the clothing kit. So not too bad. This is everything I'll wear, and then everything I'm not wearing I'll obviously be in the pack. And then I'm trying out these crispy Laponia boots this year. These are I haven't worn these before this year, but I've been wearing them about just on like hiking, training hikes. Dig the boots. They're lightweight. They're relatively quiet, which I really like for those archery hunts, even archery elk. Oftentimes I find that I'm trying to sneak in on a herd. These are nice to have. And then of course we've got darn tough socks, which I really like. I'll take one extra pair of socks in addition to the ones I'll be wearing on my feet. Next, I'm going to talk about sleep systems. So I really don't think for me personally, there really isn't a better setup for my archery elk setup or even archery mule deer setup than our Owyhee 1P tent. So for right around £1, you get a tent that you can sleep in and fit all your gear in if you do run into bad weather. Now, if you compare a tent to, like, let's say a bivy sack and a tarp setup, there are a lot of lightweight bivy sacks out there. They're very popular. I know a lot of guys, I have a lot of friends who like to run a bivy sack and a tarp. Bivy sack is great, especially if it's like has mesh on top. They're nice and breathable and lightweight. But if you do get any bad weather, you really need to pack a tarp with you for rain protection. And by the time you add a bivy sack and a tarp up, you're heavier than a tent is going to be, and you don't have the same amount of room to pack all your gear and keep it out of the weather. Bad weather can happen anytime in the mountains in September. It can go from 90 degrees to 40 degrees real fast. I've had it happen many times. So I like our 1P tent setup. And then to sleep on, this is our Rincon 2P half floor, right around 6 ounces. It's lighter than my sheet of Tyvek that I carry. So I carry the half floor and the tent. I'm less than 1.5 pounds for my tent and sleep setup for my tent and my ground tarp setup. So crazy light, incredibly versatile. If it is really warm out when I go to bed at night, I won't even set up my tent. I'll just sleep on the half floor, and it works really, really well. So that's my tent setup. And then I've got a X-Ped sleeping pad right here, lightweight sleeping pad, which I really like. Pretty dang light for what it is. I've got a pillow, and I've got a 20-degree sleeping bag. I prefer, personally, a sleeping bag. Early archery season is pretty much the only time of year where I will use a quilt. I think quilts certainly have their place. For me, our early season is really the only time of year that I like a quilt. I've used a quilt late season and froze my butt off. I've tried them many times, and every single time I try to use a quilt late season, it always comes back to bite me. I end up freezing a lot. So let's see, a bow. I've got a separate video talking about my bow setup. This is the Matthews Lift. I've got day 6 HD 300 arrows. I got a Spot Hog release. And then I've got day 6 broadheads as well. Then I've got a few other like Vapor Trail rest, Vapor Trail strings, and some other things on this bow. But if you want to watch a full bow setup video, you can watch that video we put together, going over all the pieces of my bow setup here. Next, I'm going to talk about the small gear items. I've got 2 platy bladders, toothbrush. I'm not taking any water filtration system. I'm just taking some aqua mirror drops. If I find a spring, if I know where I'm going, in this case I do know the place I'm going, and there are some water sources where I can get water straight out of the spring, I typically just drink straight water. I don't filter it or anything. That's just me. I'm not necessarily recommending you do that. Carry a couple small 13-gallon trash bags. If I do get a big weather event, this is where my clothes and everything, I'll put them inside one of these bags rather than carrying a rain fly for my backpack. Got some 50 feet of 2.5 mil paracord. I've got a little med kit here. Real quick, just some of the things I keep in this med kit. I've got some ibuprofen. I've got a little bit of tape, some gauze. I've got these My Medic Z-Zips. These things are crazy great. So if you get a cut, rather than having to get stitches, you can put them on the other side of the cut and it'll cinch it up. I've used these before. These are key beta for the backcountry for dealing with cuts. And then they've got these super skin, these pieces of super skin. These things are awesome. I've used these for gear repairs. I've used them, they're like Band-Aids, but way better. Gear repairs, I've used them, blisters, lots of different uses in the field. These things are great. Always keep a few in the med kit. So super basic med kit, nothing crazy. 2 lighters wrapped in red electrical tape, headlamp, black diamond spot headlamp, extra batteries. I do carry a little mini multi-tool, especially with the bow in case something starts getting loose or whatever, I can always fix it. Our Carbon X trekking poles. That's the other thing with our tent, which I forgot to mention, is with our set of 1 trekking pole, you can pitch your tent. Don't have to bring a dedicated pole, super easy. Dark Energy battery recharger, just for navigating the phone and maps, sunglasses, Onyx, the InReach, Garmin InReach. And I've got our Kodiak belt here as well, which really is a part of my kill kit, which I'll get to in a second. So that's all of that gear. Let me talk about I'm going to gloss over optics and spend a little bit of time talking about food setup here. So we've got, I don't take a tripod on archery elk hunts. I just don't find it to be necessary. I also don't bring a spotting scope typically. Sometimes if I am going to bring one, I'll bring like a mini Razor Vortex spotter. But typically with elk, I'm in the dark timber or timber most of the time, just chasing bugles. So I'm not going to be really using a spotting scope very much at all. But if I do need a glass, 10x42s are perfect. I've got the Razor HD 4000 rangefinder. I've got our MOB pack, carbon knife, set of gloves for my kill kit, FHF bino harness setup. I do have my butt pad for glassing, just sitting around in general. Okay, let's talk about food. So I've got my 4-ounce fuel canister and my stove. This is all I'll need for 5-6 days. because I only do I do 2 boils a day. In the morning, I have 1 cup of coffee, and in the evening, I boil water for my dehydrated meal. But I eat cold breakfast food, and then for lunch, I'll show you what I eat. And then dinner is really the only time where I eat anything, eat a hot meal. And just one thing I do to save space in my pack, I'll take 1 meal in the foil wrapper that it comes with, and then the rest of the meals I vac-seal. I take them out of this and vac-seal them in plastic, and then I put the ounces of water on top, and then I just reuse this. Some of my friends tell me that's disgusting, but I really don't mind at all. I don't wash it out. I just put the food in the next day, and it's fine. Honestly, I've done it for up to 10 days at a time. The biggest thing this does, there's a little bit of weight savings, but the biggest thing you get is space savings. So when you put the wrapping or the packaging that these dehydrated meals come in just takes up a lot of space. And as much as I love my Peak Refuel mules, this is a way to just save a lot of space. So when I start getting into like 5-6 day hunts, this is just a good way to save some space. Makes it easier to fit all my stuff in my pack. So for breakfast, I do 2 of these Perfect bars. I've been doing this for a while now. There's a lot of calories in these. There's not a lot of sugar. These Perfect bars are filling. It's just basically nut butter and honey. That's pretty much it. So I can throw 2 of these in my pack, especially for archery elk hunting. I get going in the morning, I drink a cup of coffee, throw these in my pack, and I get moving, and I can eat these kind of on the go whenever I want to. So I don't have to like sit there and eat in camp. And then for the other nice thing about taking those with me and not forcing myself to eat early in the morning, I have a hard time eating a big meal early in the day. So by throwing those in the hip belt of my pack or in my cargo pockets, they kind of become a part of my like daily snack routine, which all my lunch is in here as well. I have I'll just show you what's in here. This is 1 day's worth of sort of lunch snacks for me. I've got 2 of these 2 mini Perfect bars, which are fantastic. You can buy these on Amazon. I've got 1 Pro bar. I have 2 of these RX bars. I have some almonds. These are dry roasted almonds. And then I have 3 of these little Chomps beef sticks. That is, I typically am pretty hungry throughout the day. Like, I don't like to starve myself, but this is enough food for me, especially with the 2 bars that I mentioned for breakfast, to kind of eat throughout the day until I get to camp in the evening and when I have dinner. The other thing I bring with me, this is just some hydration stuff. So if it's going to be really hot out, or I know I'm going to be doing big days, I will bring these. These are Hammer Gel Endurolite pills. So this is just sodium, magnesium, potassium pills. Nothing else in it, no sugar, no nothing. If I'm really doing a lot of sweating, big miles a day, these things are lifesavers. I really like these things. And then these Element packets are also really sweet. Again, just sodium, magnesium, potassium, lots of salt, lots of magnesium, lots of potassium, which is what you need when you are sweating a lot and putting on big mileage days. I think that's it. Oh wait, long-handled spoon. That's really important too for eating your meals. So that is my early season archery elk kit. I'm going to pack all this stuff up so you can see what it looks like in the pack. And then I'll show you kind of how I like to arrange things as well once we get them inside the pack. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I've got a couple little ditty sacks here. I'm going to put a bunch of these small items just so they don't get lost inside this ditty sack. Keep my water filtration, dark energy stuff, battery charger in there. Got another one here. I'm going to put med kit, all these small little items around here. I'm not going to put my headlamp in there, but I will put my inReach in there because I don't use that throughout the day. And I'll put my platy bladders in with my water filtration, so they're always in the same place. And then I'm going to zip these up. I'm going to try and pull my pack up here. So I'm going to put my headlamp, for me, goes in one of these side pockets on my pack, so I always know where it's at. Zip that up. Forgot to mention earlier too that I do have some elk calls in here. Elk calls for me always go in one of these side pockets too right here. So this is just where my quick access items go, in these side pockets. First thing I'm gonna do is put my heavier items towards kind of the bottom of the pack and towards as close as I can get it to my back, so I'm not tipping over. There are some people who have commented on some of our past videos that you should be putting your heavy items a little sort of midway up your back. I certainly agree with that. If I was carrying a really heavy load, I would care more about that, but this pack is not gonna be that heavy. So by putting my some of my gear, my food at the bottom of the pack, it's not really gonna affect the way this pack carries in a way that I can really tell. And the other thing is, like, the things that I want access to or might need access to during the day, I need to put those near the top or the outside of my pack, because I'm gonna have all my gear with me every day, including my tent and everything else. So that being said, things I don't need access to are the kill kit until I kill something, right? And then food. So I've got all my food in a dry bag. I'm gonna throw that in the bottom. Kind of fills in there. The other thing is, like, I always say that I never need access to my rain jacket, but when you do, you do. I'm gonna throw some of when I'm hiking during the day, I will have a shirt and maybe the ambient hoodie, but I won't need my big puffy layer. So I'm gonna put that all the way on the bottom there and kind of stuff it in the crevices of my pack. See if I can set this up right here. Same thing with the vest. And then I'm gonna take stove, that can go near the bottom because I won't need access to that during the day. Fuel, which actually I'll put inside my stove canister. Tent, can go down against my back. Same thing with the half floor. And I'm gonna take the ditty sack that has, let me just see what I got in here. Yep, it says my water filtration. I'm gonna put this in my side pouch. So if I'm out walking around during the day and I decide I wanna get some water, I know that's gonna be right on the side of the pack here. I don't have to go digging around in the main body of my pack to look for my water. The stuff in here, don't care if I have access to that quickly. I'll be wearing my belt. Sunglasses are gonna go on the top of my pouch or back or in one of these side pouches. I'll put them right here for now. I can close that up. Like I said, I'm gonna be wearing this, so I'm gonna put that on the ground along with my boots. I've got my rain jacket. I'm gonna hold off on putting that in there. I'll be wearing these pants, these Patagonia boxers. These are gonna go down there. Long underwear, hat, won't need access to those very quickly. So evening time. Gloves I'm gonna put along with my bandana on the side here in case I decide I need access to them. Let's see. Knife and gloves. I'm gonna put that in the top of my pouch here, or my top pouch, just so I do have access to it in case I decide I want it. Especially the knife. Game bags. Take the tag off first, and then I'll put those inside my bag. Again, putting everything I can against that's a little bit heavier against the back of my pack. Pillow, don't care where that goes. I can just stuff down in there. So I've got all my food in there. This is just kind of extra food that I brought out to show you what I carry along each day. Long-handled spoon. I do want to be able to find this when I need it, so I'm going to put that in the top of my top there as well. Sleeping bag and pad. So I like to take my sleeping bag out. If you watch any other videos, and just kind of stuff it in the crevices of my bag rather than leave it inside of its stuff sack. That's just me. So, and I'm probably going to leave this rain jacket on top of my pack, so it's going to be one of the last things that I pack up. For now, I will put my trekking poles on the outside of my pack. Obviously, when I'm using these, I'd have them in my hand. But oftentimes during the day, these poles are on the side of my pack because I have a bugle tube and my bow in my hand at all times, so I'm not really carrying them around. I'm carrying my belt. This is going to go, my butt pad is going to go on the side, one of the side pockets here as well. Okay. All right, now I think we're ready for, oh, very important here, TP. There's a large roll of TP. So I'm just gonna shove in there. Normally, I keep that in a gallon Ziploc just for posterity's sake here. Now, let's take out this, I gotta lay this down here to put that sleeping bag in here. So I'm just gonna pull the sleeping bag out and kind of shove it in the crevices of my pack here as I pull it out. This is a 20-degree bag. And I just have found that even if the temperature drops on me, like this is gonna be plenty warm. And I have had it where plenty of trips in August, or excuse me, September, where you think it's really nice out, leave the truck and you're like, oh, it's not gonna be that cold. And then, you know, a few days later, the dew point or the temperature drops significantly and you're freezing your butt off. Okay. Roll that up. Oh wait, forgot my rain jacket. So now my rain jacket is right on top of my pack. Oh, it's hard to do with the pack on top here of the table. Roll my pack up. Put the lid on. So you can see I can pretty casually fit 5 days worth of gear, clothes, food, everything in this pack. And then I still have the ability to put my bow on the outside of this pack, which I'll show you how I do that. These two outside straps. Tie my bow down underneath the stabilizer and my quiver. And I will snug that up. If I can get to it. Okay, bottom strap and then top strap goes above my sight and under the quiver around, I guess it goes right over the riser, but above my sight, just like that. And then I just cinch that up. And then obviously I'll be wearing my binos. Let me put this food on the floor so you're not distracted by it. Already got 5 days worth of food in the pack. And then the old bugle tube, which for me, so there's my pack all packed up. The bugle tube can go, which is hard to do while I'm trying to balance everything. I just put that in one of the water bottle holders. And then I can take this strap if I want to and put it around the bugle tube. So now it's nice and secure. So the only thing I realized I forgot here is a water bottle. So there you go. That is my 5-day backpack archery elk kit all packed up in my pack with my bino harness right here. If you have any questions about anything I did, how I packed my pack, you have a difference of opinion than I do about how to do this, or you have any questions about the gear I have here, feel free to leave a question or a comment down below in the comments.